What if everything you have ever been told about positive thinking is dangerously incomplete? You have heard it 1,000 times. Think positive, stay optimistic, visualize your success. And yet here you are, still wrestling with the same doubts, the same stagnation, the same version of yourself you swore you would outgrow by now. Here is the truth they never taught you. Shallow positive thinking is not wisdom. It is a comfortable illusion that keeps you exactly where you are, feeling busy while staying still. The Stoics understood something far more powerful and far more precise than what the modern self-help industry sells you. Marcus Aurelius did not govern one of the mightiest empires in human history by simply thinking happy thoughts. He forged his mind into a disciplined instrument, sharp, intentional, and unbreakable under the weight of war, plague, and betrayal. Your mind is not a passive screen receiving life's projections. It is the architect of your entire reality. And the single most important building material you will ever work with is the thought you choose to hold right now, in this exact moment. But here is what almost no one tells you, and this is the precise insight that separates people who merely think about change from the rare few who actually live it. Stay locked in, because in just a few minutes I am going to reveal the one Stoic mental principle that does not just improve your thinking, it rewires your identity from the inside out, permanently. If this is already hitting different, take 2 seconds and drop a like right now. It tells me you are here for genuine growth, not just entertainment. And if you are new here, subscribe immediately. Because this channel exists for one type of person, someone who refuses to stay the same. Lesson 1. Your thoughts are not observations. They are decisions. Epictetus was born a slave. He owned nothing. He controlled nothing in the external world, not his freedom, not his physical safety, not even the most basic dignities most people take for granted. And yet he became one of the most powerful philosophical minds in all of human history. His secret was not talent, not luck, and not circumstance. He understood one absolute, unshakable truth. Men are disturbed not by things, but by their opinions about things. Let that land. It is not your circumstances creating your suffering. It is the meaning your mind assigns to those circumstances. This is the foundation of Stoic positive thinking, and it bears absolutely no resemblance to the shallow affirmations printed on coffee mugs. Think about this analogy. Your mind is like a lens. The same sunlight that gently warms your skin can also start a fire, depending entirely on how the lens is focused. Two people can face the exact same failure. A lost job, a broken relationship, a collapsed dream, and walk away living completely different realities, because their thoughts focus that experience differently. One sees a wound, the other sees a whetstone. Have you ever noticed that the most resilient people around you do not have fewer problems? They simply think about their problems differently. But here is the catch most people miss entirely. Choosing your thoughts is not a passive act. It is one of the most demanding disciplines a human being can undertake, because the default setting of the untrained mind is not optimism. It is fear, comparison, and survival. Choosing a constructive thought in the middle of chaos requires the same deliberate force as lifting weight against gravity. Nobody drifts into a powerful mind. They build it. Lesson 2. The narrative you run is the life you live. Here is something that will permanently shift how you see yourself. Your brain is not recording reality. It is constructing a narrative about reality. Every single experience you have is filtered through layers of belief, memory, and emotion before it ever becomes a conscious thought in your mind. This means the story you are telling yourself right now is not objective fact. It is a script, and either you are writing it with full intention, or the world is writing it for you without your permission. Marcus Aurelius understood this with terrifying clarity. In his private journal, written not for public legacy, not for admiration, but purely as an act of self-command, he wrote, The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This was a man who faced plague, military invasion, court betrayal, and the death of his own children. At the highest level of earthly power, with every reason to collapse, he chose his inner narrative deliberately, every single morning, the way a general positions his troops before the first arrow is fired. So what narrative is running in your mind right now? Are you the person who never gets a real chance? Or are you the person being tested for a level you have not yet earned? Are you not built for success? Or are you simply someone who has not yet applied the right discipline with the right consistency? These are not minor reframings. They are completely different lives built from the same raw material. But here is where it gets scientifically undeniable. Cognitive neuroscience confirms what Stoicism taught 2,000 years ago. Repeated thoughts physically restructure your neural pathways. Every time you consciously choose a constructive thought over a destructive one, you are not simply being positive. You are literally rebuilding the architecture of your brain. Neuron by neuron, decision by decision, day by day. Most people will not make it this far. They skip, they scroll, they consume without transforming, and then wonder why nothing ever changes. But you are still here, which tells me you already sense on a deep level that what I am saying is not theory. It is your life waiting to be claimed. Hold on. What comes next is where the real shift happens. Lesson 3. The Stoic Morning. How to command your mind before the world does. The Stoics were not passive philosophers sitting in quiet rooms writing poetry about inner peace. They were practitioners of mental warfare. Every single morning, before the demands of the day could plant their seeds of chaos and confusion, Marcus Aurelius deliberately set the tone of his own thinking. He would remind himself of his core values, anticipate the obstacles the day would bring, and mentally rehearse his chosen responses. What modern psychology now calls cognitive priming. This was not journaling for comfort or emotional release. This was mental command executed with the precision of a military operation. Here is the analogy. If you walk out of your house without choosing what to wear, the weather decides for you. If you begin your day without deliberately choosing your thoughts, the world decides for you. And the world will hand you anxiety, comparison, digital noise, and manufactured urgency with absolute generosity. An unguarded mind is an open city. Intention is your wall. The practice is demanding in its simplicity. Every single morning, before you reach for your phone, before social media, before news, before the first notification hijacks your attention, spend 5 focused minutes planting the thoughts you want to grow that day. Ask yourself 3 questions without flinching. Who am I choosing to be today? What will I absolutely refuse to let steal my energy and focus? What single truth am I committing to live by right now, in this moment? This is not soft journaling. This is philosophy used as a weapon. The days you feel most invincible are never the days that started with a scroll. They are the days that started with a decision. Lesson 4. Positive thought is fuel, not fantasy. Here is the crucial distinction that makes Stoic positive thinking completely immune to every valid criticism of naive optimism. And this is the part that separates real transformation from motivational noise. Positive thinking, as the Stoics practiced and demanded, does not mean pretending your obstacles do not exist. It does not mean smiling at your suffering, performing happiness for others, or denying the brutal honesty of where you currently stand. It means choosing to interpret obstacles as information rather than verdicts. It means holding your vision of who you are becoming with iron conviction while simultaneously standing in full, clear-eyed, unblinking contact with the reality of where you are today. That is not delusion. That is the most demanding form of mental strength available to a human being. The Stoics had a specific practice for this called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. Before each day, they would deliberately imagine the difficulties ahead. Not to create fear, but to strip those difficulties of their power to surprise and break them. Knowing the obstacle is coming means the obstacle cannot ambush your thinking. And a mind that cannot be ambushed cannot be controlled by its circumstances. The person who genuinely changes their life through their thoughts is not the one fantasizing about success while lying in passive comfort. He is the one who wakes up to his hardest reality, refuses to be broken by it, and chooses the thought that moves him one step forward anyway. Without applause, without guarantee, without the luxury of ideal conditions. That single act, repeated daily with unwavering discipline, is not weakness dressed as positivity. It is the most radical act of courage available to a human being alive today. You have been living inside a story. You did not write the first chapters. Your environment did. Your fears did. The voices of people who had already given up on their own greatness did. But here is the unbending, non-negotiable truth that Stoicism places directly in front of you right now. You are the only one who gets to decide what the next chapter says. Not your past. Not your current pain. Not the version of you that surrendered last time. The Stoics did not promise that mastering your thoughts would make life easy. They promised something far greater and far more valuable, that you would become genuinely unbreakable, regardless of what life brought to your door. When you begin to govern your mind with the discipline this philosophy demands, you stop being a passenger in your own story. You become the architect. And architects do not wait for the terrain to improve before they begin to build. This is your moment of decision, not next Monday, not when the timing feels right, not when the fear finally disappears. Right now, in this exact moment, you possess everything you need to begin the most important transformation of your life. The thought you choose in the next 5 minutes will either confirm the old story or begin an entirely new one. Marcus Aurelius chose every single morning under the weight of empire. Epictetus chose while wearing chains. The question has never been whether you can choose your thoughts. The only question is whether you will. The Stoics already answered it. Now it is your turn. If this video moved something in you, if even one line landed in a place that felt deeply, uncomfortably true, I want you to do one thing right now. Scroll down to the comments and type the words, "I am the author." Not because it is a trend, not because it is a hashtag, but because declaring it out loud, even in a comment box, is an act of mental commitment, and commitments have gravity. Every single person who types those words below is making a public declaration to stop being written by their circumstances and to start writing their own story with full intention. That is a community I want you to be part of, and I want to see your name in that section. If this video speaks to the life you are committed to building, subscribe right now and hit the notification bell. Because this channel has one mission: equipping serious, disciplined people with the timeless mental tools of Stoicism to build lives of depth, purpose, and unbreakable strength. The story continues. Choose to be in it.